everyone and welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, then hi, my name is Lauren. And on my channel, we mostly talk about anything luxury, but we also discuss lifestyle and beauty. So if you're interested in any of these topics, please consider subscribing to my channel and we'll get started with the video. So in today's video, I'm presenting you a 2-year review of my Rolex Datejust. It was actually my first really expensive piece of jewelry and I still love it today. So if you want to go ahead and see if it stands the test of time, then please keep on watching. So my watch is the Rolex Datejust in size 34 millimeters with a pink dial, a fluted bezel, and then an oyster bracelet. As I've mentioned it before, this was my first expensive piece of jewelry and I actually got it pretty much right before the pandemic hit in 2020 and I have been wearing it ever since, every single day of the year. Aside from like a few occasions, maybe like 10 days where I have been wearing my other Rolex, which I currently have because honestly I can't be watchless. It's like being braless for me, it's not possible. So I have been wearing, my occasion watch, which is a Rolex Datejust in size this time 36 millimeters with a black dial and diamonds, and that's my occasion watch. But pretty much every other day of the year, this has been my main, my go-to, my everyday watch. So let's hear the pros and cons and the wear and tear. So let's start with the pros because as I do love it, I believe that there are more pros than cons. Really the first thing to say about this watch is I love having the date on it. I really find this super practical. In the past, whenever I need to sign documents and then date them, I would have to find my phone in my purse, which would already take 5 minutes. And then, the person from the administration or something would look at me like, find my phone in my purse. And honestly, it was just embarrassing, pretty much. So having the date on the watch is just so easy. You can just look at it and you know today's date automatically. So easy. The next good thing to say about this watch is that it is in my mind a statement piece, especially because I got it in a bigger size. So this one is in size 34 and then the other one is even larger. It's a size 36 and I love it. I feel like it really communicates the feeling of the watch really well. It really says, hey, I have a Rolex, which, let's not be blind. I think it is pretty much the point of having these watches. It is definitely what people read when they see them. So I think that having the size 34 or 36 is really nice. Also because I am a bigger girl, I think it works well for me. This is definitely something that I would try on in the store. But for me, because I am so tall, I just felt like the bigger sizes worked better for me. The next thing that I really like about this watch is that it is waterproof, and that has been a tremendous change for me. Previously, I used to have an Hermes Heure H watch that had a leather bracelet and oh my god, never again. Honestly, it was like so bad. I always had to be super careful when I would wash my hands or like wash my face or anything or do any of the skincare. I would have to remove it. And this is something that I just don't think about anymore with this. It is very carefree. And because it's waterproof, but also because it's got the stainless steel bracelet, it's something that really works well. For example, if you have kids and they want to play with the watch, that would be totally fine. My best friend has like 3 children, so whenever I go visit them, it's always like, oh, Auntie Lauren. And they love to play with my watch, but so far so good, nothing has happened. And that's really because, well, first I'm careful, but this watch is really resistant, both the watch and then the bracelet. And I think that the last good thing that I can tell you about this is that really the watch itself, so outside of the bracelet, just the watch, is like scratchless. It is 100% intact. It looks brand new. So now with the cons, because I have to be honest, there are some cons. The main thing that I would say is that the bracelet shows scratches already after 2 years of everyday wear. And this is something that you will see on close-ups and mod shots. It's not like terrible, it's not like horrible, but you definitely see the scratches. I think that they are pretty abundant. And so for that reason, I would consider that this bracelet would need to be changed about every 5 years. So this is something that you can do. You can go ahead and change the bracelet. And that's not, you know, the main price of the watch. So I believe that we're looking in between like 500 and 1,000 depending on, you know, the watch model, the type of bracelet that you want, etc, etc. So it's not too bad, but the bracelet would need to be replaced. The next thing that I can say about this watch is that it can feel pretty heavy. And that was definitely an adjustment period for me, coming from the Ash to this. This was a really big difference, and so I believe for like 2 or 3 weeks at first when I started wearing my watch, I really felt like it was super heavy, that this thing was like weighing me down. I honestly believe that I would never get used to it, and then it honestly feels natural. Like now when I don't have my watch, I'm like, wait, something's wrong. This is not right. It doesn't feel correct. And then, you know, I tried like a couple of other watches and I'm like, no, this doesn't feel right either. The weight of this watch is really kind of like the signature. But obviously if you are afraid of that, you know, you can get smaller models. This is also because I chose to have a 34 millimeters. If you go, you know, 31 or even 28, I'm pretty sure that this wouldn't be the same weight. Next, this is actually a watch that can be resized, that can remove some links, and that's kind of like a double-edged sword. It is a pro in the sense that it will be the correct size for you. So, you know, even if you get it from your mom, or your dad, from like whoever, you can resize it so that it is the correct size for you. But in the cons, it is actually pretty hard to size it correctly. That was something that I kind of struggled with at first. And for example, if you do remove too many links, which is what happened at first with this one, it will have like the feeling of pinching you, which is quite unpleasant. So I would list that as both a pro and a con. And then this is obviously an automatic watch, which means that you have to rewind it if you don't use it. So that's something to think about if you're not planning on wearing it every day. So for my occasion watch, for example, every time I wear it, I need to rewind it because it is no longer the correct date nor the correct time. And so for that reason, I would actually recommend an automatic winder. So I have one that I purchased for $40 on Amazon. It's like really inexpensive, but it works wonders. You never really have to think about that. And I think that especially if you plan on having several watches, that would be really useful. So if I find it again, because I purchased it a long time ago, but if I find it still, I will leave it in the little description box down below, because that was a really good purchase. Obviously not sponsored, it's from Amazon and it's $40. But it was one of my really great purchases concerning this watch. And the last thing to mention about this watch is that it gets dirty pretty easily. So you have to clean it every so often, and really honestly, I just cleaned it before filming this video. I hadn't cleaned it in probably like 3 or 4 months. And oh my god, this is what came out. I feel like I'm like airing my dirty laundry right now. I feel so bad. It is so dirty. As you can see, the whole little piece of cloth is like covered in these stains. It is absolutely gross. And by the way, for the piece of cloth, this is actually one that came with a Cartier bracelet. And I also used a cleaning liquid from Cartier to clean the Rolex watch. I think this works really well. The piece of cloth is really soft, so that way you're not damaging the watch at all. You're not even like scratching it or anything. And this is what came out. Ugh. So now onto the wear and tear part. And as mentioned earlier, the top of the watch, so the watch itself outside of the bracelet, actually shows no signs of wear and tear whatsoever. What shows the most signs of wear and tear is obviously the bracelet, but most precisely the bottom of the bracelet, which is actually where the closing system is and where the Rolex logo is, unfortunately. So let's take a look. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was informational and beneficial for you in case you were looking at acquiring one of these babies. I would highly recommend it. This has been one of my best purchases ever. Honestly, it is such a staple. It is something that I'm excited to wear every day, even when I'm simply staying at home. So if you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.